Okay, that's close enough to a minute. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We'll go with a roll call. Mike?
Here.
Kim?
Here.
Paul?
Here.
Ashley?
Here.
Dustin? Not on yet. Did I miss anybody? Because you said Jake isn't, he'll sign in. Oh, Dustin, I saw on that he just joined. Dustin, are you here? He must not have hit his video yet, or because it showed that he joined.
I got booted off. Sorry, I'm here. Yes.
Okay, Dustin's here. And myself here, I'm sorry. Our agenda amendments. Ashley, I'll put you under new business, under 10B.
Yep.
And Shar, I'll put you under 8A1. We'll just call it easy pay. We need a motion to accept those agenda amendments. Are there any others? Motion to it. You need a motion, Paul?
Motion, Paul.
Okay.
I'll second, Ashley.
Ashley, seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Public participation. Is there anybody online, Vicki, that wants to publicly participate?
Okay, I don't see anyone's hand raised right now. For those that are attending, there is a little tool that you can hit raise your hand if you would like to speak on the citizens to be heard right now. If you want to just give them a second. I'm not seeing anyone raising their hand right now. Nope, nobody's raising their hand to speak.
Okay, then we'll go down to consent agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered to be routine and will be acted upon by one motion. Can I have a motion?
I'll offer, Ashley.
I'll second, Kim.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll move on to, there's no public hearings. So it'll be you then, Shar, on the easy pay.
Okay, this was a component of our software we have for our utility billing that we would like to purchase. It'll help with the situation that we're having now. People can pay with credit cards, and we can get messages out to the public if there's going to be a snow removal situation, or if we're going to do something with the water, the lights. Will be able to contact the public easier. It will be less than $10,000, and I'd like to move forward. We have money in the capital budget that could be used.
I'll make a motion that we follow through with that.
It'll be a resolution, Ashley.
Okay, I'll make resolution for that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Mike seconds. Does anybody have any questions on it? I think this is a great idea. Okay, this has to be roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Is there anybody I missed? Did I say you, Kim?
Yep.
Okay. It's hard when you can't. I have nameplates, but they don't all appear on the thing. Okay, we're down to new business. That resolution carried. Shar, you can just go ahead. You know what needs to be done on that. Any specific staff reports?
Could I ask
Go
a
ahead.
question? Shar, did we had advertised for additional people for helping with the mowing with the city crew. Did we do that this spring? I don't remember.
We advertised for additional mowing personnel, but with the lack of the swimming pool and everything else, we decided we probably won't need that this year. I mean, we haven't really made the decision, but we do have somebody that may be interested yet. We don't know.
Okay. I yeah, I didn't know if things start to get moving along, if it'd be a good idea to, but you've got someone that's possibly interested?
We do have somebody possibly interested, but if the pool remains closed like we are planning, that'll make quite a difference with our mowing schedules and keep people mowing. If it gets to the point we do need extra help, we'll try to figure it out.
Okay, sounds good.
Gino,
Yes, Paul. Or I mean, I'm sorry, Mike.
I'd just like to say that the cleanup committee did a tremendous job.
Yes, I was going to say something later on, but since you brought it up, I drove by there a couple of times when I was doing some work. I swear to God, I've never seen that much junk in my life. My God, there's stuff up there. Paul and who was on the committee? Paul, Bill, Paul had a lot to do with it. Gail Middlestead, I can't remember all of them. But you guys did a fantastic job. The city crew went above and beyond. I think it's one of the best things we've done in years for just overall for the community.
Mayor, I did the gate a little bit on Friday, and you can't believe the number of compliments that the city and this committee had for what they did for the cleanup of Ortonville. It was really positive. It was fun to see such things.
It was good. Yes, very much so.
Yeah, so I'd just add, I have some quantities here, you know, and thank you, you know, as city council, you know, it was kind of a leap of faith, and you guys voted in favor of it. So, you know, you guys are part of it too. And yeah, Berta Bartz, Rhonda Moss were other volunteers, Dave Rogers while he could before the virus thing. But yeah, the city crew, outstanding. The help we had, it wouldn't have been possible without them, their loaders. And yeah, so we ended up with, it looks like it'll be about 9 dumpsters, those 30-yard roll-offs full, about 9 loads of metal that came out of there. There's 1 load left there yet, loaded. And then 182 tires is about where we're at. Yeah, it was a success, I believe.
I think it was more than a success. Yeah, I was just blown away. Thanks again, Paul,
Good
for
job,
your committee
Paul.
getting that goal.
Yeah, you're welcome, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Moving on, we'll go to new business. The first one is a quote on a top dresser for the golf course. Is Jesse on?
Yep, I'm here.
Go ahead, Jesse. Why don't you explain that?
Okay, so I believe, Gene, that this was in the budget. This is what we budgeted for last year, but we made it through another year, so I pushed it to this year now. The top dresser, the Dakota 410, it's an attachment that goes on our turf tender. Basically, our main use for it is top dressing the greens with sand, but we also use it for fertilizer purposes. What's wrong with this one is it's about, if I had to guess, 10 to 12 years old, and the entire bottom frame is completely rusted and broke out. So it basically, it will not work this summer.
Are there any questions? Since it's budgeted for, do we have to make a resolution for it, Shar, or is it just more of a matter of him letting us know?
No, it has to be a resolution. You're spending over the $10,000 limit. So we need a
Okay.
resolution by the council.
Okay. Would somebody like
I'll
to
offer
make
the resolution.
Paul?
I'll offer the resolution, Paul.
Thank you.
I'll second Ashley.
Ashley, second it.
Jesse, I do have a question now. In the packet, there was like 2 quotes.
Okay, yep. So the top quote, do you have that sheet? Do you guys have that one?
Yep.
Yep.
So the top quote, that's just for your basic package. Basically, it's the same one that we have. And then the bottom one, that was for a little fancier model where there's like a computer that comes with it that you can kind of play with the speed of how would I say this? The conveyor and stuff. You can speed up the spinners and the conveyor without actually having to get off, but that's just kind of bells and whistles that I don't need. I mean, the one we have now works just fine, so it wasn't worth spending the extra money on the fancier one. But that's what the 2 quotes were.
So you're gonna go with the one that's like 11,000?
Yep, 11,660. That's the one.
Okay.
Okay, that, we'll have to do a vote on that. It'd be roll call. Mike,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
Dustin,
Yes.
myself, yes. Did I skip anybody? Resolution carries. We're on to you, Ashley.
Okay, we have, I know a few of us council members have been approached by constituents, majority business owners, asking for us to consider and discuss passing a resolution to affirm that we are a constitutional and business-friendly community. So what that would entail is going with the 14th Amendment, which states that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abide the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. And so going forward, what this is essentially doing is saying that Governor Walz's emergency executive order 20-13 that he enforced with the extended stay at home, may have to do a little bit of research since he also now has made the stay safer, until the end, still encouraging people to work from home if they are able to, all of those different things. But essentially what it's saying is, as a city, we will not be reporting those businesses that feel that they need to open so they can remain a business within our community. So we're not going to be calling them in. However, this does not take away, like, if the Department of Health were to come in and they shut somebody down or take away licensing, those different things, but we're not going to be reporting our business owners or prosecuting them. So just want to put that out there, see if we can get a discussion going and to talk further about it. I do have some more information, but that would kind of be the gist of it.
Ashley, what kind of businesses are you talking about?
Well, it would be any of the businesses are still not allowed to open. And really
You're not talking bars, so are you?
See, the thing is that we wouldn't have any control over what business owner would find that they need to open. But that would be, that it's literally just saying that we are not going to be reporting them to the state that they are open. We're not going to take any action as a city to take away the rights of someone to have their business open if they find it to be appropriate. Now, that's not taking away that they would need to have a system in line for sanitation, all of those things, still recommending the social distancing, all the things that we have been practicing during our stay-at-home order as of right now as well.
Can I say something, Ashley?
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying we should let them break the law and we're not going to do anything about it? The governor, we have to listen to the governor.
The governor has made an order. From my understanding, it's an order, not an actual put into law. But it literally is just saying we're not going to have the law enforcement go and shut them down, or our city attorney to prosecute those that find that they need to open for livelihood purposes to stay afloat.
Technically, I don't think we have the power to do that. I'm Jason. I can see you. You're on my corner screen. I don't know that the council has the authority or the right to say to the chief of police that he shouldn't enforce this law, but he should enforce other ones. I don't think Jason has a choice. And I don't, and then the next one up from Jason is the sheriff.
Can I comment?
Go ahead.
Sheriff Brown and I are on the with this thing. if we are not going to be out actively patrolling and finding if a business is open. That's not supposed to be, but if we get a complaint, we are going to follow up on it just like any other complaint. We are going to go out and educate based on the governor's executive orders. We are not going to shut them down when we're there. We're not going to issue citations. We're going to follow through with the county for his review of the case. But then the one thing in my weekly conversation, call in with our Chiefs Association, we're talking every week with the Commissioner of Public Safety. And the one thing he passed along to us today, in fact, if businesses do decide, we may not get the complaint. Somebody from the public may actually decide to call the state themselves, and then they'll launch an investigation. But some things that these people have to take into consideration is, obviously, if it's a bar or restaurant, they could lose their liquor license. They could lose their food license. Another thing, if you are, is you probably saw some of the things going on in Sterling County with the one bar that he was trying to do. And it sounds to me, I haven't heard the exact outcome, but it sounds like the judge threw it at him where if he is open, it's a $25,000 per day civil penalty on that business. And another thing the commissioner said to us today is, let's say one of our bars or restaurants or businesses are open and somebody goes in there and it's not supposed to be open. They get in contact with somebody that had the virus at one of these locations, and through contact tracing back to it, they found out that they got it at a location that was supposed to be closed. That business owner could, number one, have his insurance affected, as well as, let's say this person that got infected ended up having to go to the hospital and be on a ventilator or medical treatment, that business owner could be responsible for that person's medical expenses as well. It was something that just came out to us today, but we are obviously, we're going to take action if we get a complaint on it and follow through. So that's where Sheriff Brown and I both stand on.
Jason, I had a question.
Yep.
Have you heard what other towns near us are doing, whether it be in the county or out of the county, neighboring towns?
The only I know of a couple where their councils sent a letter to the governor, basically pleading that, they be allowed to open up their business, basically not taking it from, if you want to say, I understand that we are not a Hennepin County, we don't have the salons that have multiple chairs. I think that they were basically asking that through their county, they could set up their own plans besides what the metro side of things are doing. With what Ashley is asking, I don't, I've not heard any towns doing that. If that makes sense.
Yep, and then just a follow up. So, is it June 1st then? 2 weeks from today? Is that a target then when things will kind of reopen, or is that not known yet?
So
Supposedly.
Part of our conversation today with the Commissioner of Public Safety, he said that obviously the target date is June 1st. And some of the things that they said that they were addressing with the bars and restaurants and salons were figuring out the occupancy level. And that's kind of going to be, that's not going to be our job. It sounds like that's going to be maybe like the fire side of things, not our Ortonville fire, but the ones that set up like Perkner Pizza. If they can have X amount of people in there, they're trying to figure out a percentage as to, is it going to be 50% occupancy, 30%? They're working on that right now, as well as just some general things moving forward. Obviously, if you go into a restaurant, you're not going to have your typical menu. It's going to be, something on the board, something on the wall, a copy of it where they give it to you, you throw it away. You're not going to have your condiments on the table. It might be all prepackaged stuff. They're working through that, but the commissioner said they're hearing it from all of us when we let them know that these people are wanting to get their doors open. They're working through it, and they're definitely having a target date.
When it comes to the cleanliness, every business during the peacetime emergency has to create a COVID-19 preparedness plan, which in there states, this is through Executive Order 20-48, that says during this time, any business that has been closed down that's not essential, but yet still even essential ones need to complete a prepared plan that's going to follow all sanitation guidelines for their business and company. This is also, Gabe's Auto received an email about this actually from Pam from the SB Small Business Bureau that kind of helps us in our area to give us a template. And in there, it also states is to have this prepared and to follow through with it, so that if somehow they do tracing and it comes back to your business, that you also have your plan ready. And so our businesses here in town need to be putting those together as well, so that we can be prepared for when we do have full-blown open. However, my concern is this: the more that we have our businesses shut down, how is our community going to make it? I'm not saying that everyone needs to open up and go and just wildly shop or go out and eat, do all these different things. Forget all stay-at-home type of things and concern. I myself am wearing a mask. I have to wear a mask at my own job as well when I am there and not working from home. And so there are just things that we have to follow, but there have been towns that are passing ordinances and resolutions that are stating here in the state of Minnesota that we're not going to go out and look for these guys. And I appreciate that Mark has stated, they're not just going to go out and find them unless they get a report, and then they're going to try to work with the business owner and those different things. We cannot stop the state from stopping anything that they're going to do. But yes, there has been a handful. I've done some research also here in Minnesota of smaller communities sending letters urging the governor as well. But a few have passed ordinances just saying that they're just not going to overly enforce it. So, and I know that there's some small business owners on as attendees. I don't know if they have anything they'd like to add or anything on those. Like I said, a few of us were contacted to consider and to discuss just on the city council what we can do to help our community thrive.
I totally understand what you're saying, Ashley. Probably one of my best friends in town owns a restaurant. We kind of lives down next to Kim. And I want this to open up as soon as it possibly can. I just don't think we're in a position as a council to tell a law enforcement officer not to enforce the law. Because there are probably some people out there that don't like the planning and zoning laws. And it hurts, they can't put a cheap tin roof on their house that they want and that they can afford, and it's hurting them financially. I guess Jason's approach to it, saying that if nobody calls in and complains about it, but for us to make it on record that we are willing to let him ignore the law, I don't think that's our place as a council to do that.
Well, I guess I could see that, not saying that we're condoning it or whatever, but the information is out there now. What will happen if they do it? And then it'll just be up to the owner to decide if they're willing to take that risk or not. It's a small town. I mean, they're hurting, and I get why they're coming to us saying, can you support us in this? I get that. But I think ultimately it should be up to the owner whether or not they want to take that risk.
And as the thing that and it's easy for me to see this because I'm not the business owner, and it's mostly what we're talking about is either hair salons or bars, restaurants. But we don't know what could be done and what the penalty could be. I don't know if I'd be willing to risk when we're hopefully, I'm hoping that we're talking 2 weeks now, less than 2 weeks. But would you be willing to risk losing, if you're a restaurant, losing your health inspection? They could take your license away for a year. The liquor could. And Jason can't say if they get a complaint and if it goes, if they decide that they want to prosecute, what's going to happen? I agree with you, Kim. I think if the business is wants to take that chance, but personally, I don't know, as close as we are to the end of this, if I'd be willing to risk it.
One thing we have to consider too, with all the virus confirmed around here just lately, it wouldn't look good if the council said, if say the VFW got busted for opening up and they said, well, the council said it was kind of okay. I think we're risking our necks.
I think we're almost risking our necks, not sticking our necks out there for the businesses. We've got a constitution that we abide by. Isn't that what we do? It says no, without due process of law. I don't believe that the process of law has been changed.
But
so we're not given the open. We're not given a blessing. All we're saying is we're going to uphold the Constitution, which is far greater than any law that our governor processes. I mean, we've went through a lot of history of people overstepping bounds. If people are worried about being sick, they should stay home. If people are open according to CDC guidelines, I'm having a real hard time. A real hard time when we can literally walk to Big Stone, or we can ride our bike to Millbank and go to shop at Runnings. I don't know who here hasn't been to Runnings in the past 2 months. I'd be amazed. We've got Walmarts that are open. I'd be interested in, I haven't been to one, but I would imagine that a pretty good group have, or know someone who has. They had 10,000 people through their store on Saturday last weekend alone. And here we have our small businesses in our small town. Something that you say, well, what about some of our citizens? What if they get sick? What if we don't have businesses when we're done with this? What are we here for? Like, if our businesses can't continue, what citizens do we want? I mean, so we're going to shut down the movers and shakers in town. I mean, I haven't been affected by this. This isn't something me personally, but you look at why am I allowed open? Why anybody else on Main Street? It doesn't even make sense. And then we're looking at an amendment. The The 14th Amendment, Section 1, clearly states we're not supposed to deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. And we didn't do it.
But
Not us.
why, if that's the case, Dustin, why hasn't anybody challenged this in court in Minnesota?
They're starting to.
That's the way you do stuff.
We're scared. We're scared.
And
As
I
a
am
people,
too, but
we're scared.
we
It's
don't.
I think now more than ever, when the governor went forward this last time and stated that the Mall of America could open at 50% capacity, but our small businesses were not allowed to open by 50% capacity, which I know could maintain better sanitation guidelines than the Mall of America, it got us all pretty ticked off as small business owners.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just as peeved as you guys are. But this is a matter of law. This is a matter of law. We're not sitting here. We don't supersede state law. We don't decide, well, why don't we, let's pass a resolution then. We're going to legalize marijuana in Ortonville because we feel it's justified.
We're not saying that. I mean, I'm asking even if we could even send a letter to the governor. We need to do something. We need to stand up for them.
I'm in favor of that, but I'm not in favor of having anything that says to the law enforcement, we want you to ignore this. It'd be no different than us saying, okay, Jason, we don't want you to pick up anybody smoking pot anymore because we don't think it's dangerous. There's enough studies out there that show it's not. I'm in favor of somebody wants to compile a letter and send it to the governor. I'm in favor of that. I'm not in favor of saying we're going to ignore the law.
I don't know that we're asking for that. We're not telling Jason what to do. He can do whatever he wants to do. I think what we're trying to do is say, this is where we stand. I think we're going to stand with our citizens. And
with the people that have invested in Ortonville. I mean,
and if they
restaurant owners have invested a lot of money in their place. And we all know that making a living in a small town in good times is not easy.
Well, it's not any easier though in the cities than a restaurant. See, now we've got it down to the point, are we talking about bars and restaurants? Because the only other thing that isn't open besides bars and restaurants is your salons.
And a gym. People cannot go work out anywhere.
Yeah.
That is not allowed.
I'm just saying we need to follow law. If you guys want to write a strong letter to the governor opposing this, I'm all in favor of that. I'm willing to support it. But we cannot supersede state law. We can say our opposition to it, but we can't say we're not going to do anything about it. We don't get to pick and choose the laws that we enforce and the laws that we don't.
I guess, Mayor?
Yes.
So, I really feel that we need to, more than ever, support these businesses that aren't able to open yet. And, I'm ready to make a decision. I need to know what's on the table. Do we need a motion for this, or where are we at on it?
We
We're
need
just
to
kind of
know
discussing it. I don't know what.
Are we doing a resolution, or what are we doing?
Ashley, did you make a motion for this, or do we have, or how do you feel this should proceed?
Literally either way. I am fine with whoever wants to make a motion, either for that we are writing a letter, very strongly worded letter, which I don't feel holds as much weight as our city council acting a little bit more. However, I will support a letter. I will support anything to help them, because as small business owners and those different things in our community, we also know that our benefits of being unemployed don't always go through when you're a small business owner and you're employed. So we may have some residents here not receiving an income at all during the shutdown time. So I want to support them any way that I can. So if everyone wants to write a letter, I'm down with it. If we want to pass a resolution, I'm okay with that too.
What
I don't know how people
resolution, the question is, what resolution can you pass? You want to change an ordinance? And then you make.
Well, I
then
think
make
we
the
have to
rest-
pass a resolution to write a letter as well. Strongly urging the governor to let us open businesses here in Ortonville, Minnesota. So either way, it'll have to be a resolution.
I would offer a resolution to write a letter supporting our businesses to open up. My fear, and the reason for this is my fear, if this goes beyond June 1st, then what? You know, and I think we got to be ready for that. I would make that resolution for a letter.
I'll second it.
Let's make it a motion. It really doesn't have to be a resolution. You want this letter written. So Ashley, this motion will pass. Will you, somebody's got to write the letter. And it's not going to be me because I am terrible at writing letters. I got to have somebody that, do you want to do it, Ashley, or would you like to work with Vicky? Vicky's real good at writing letters like that. I think that attitude of the council is known. Would that be okay with you?
Yep, I'd be just fine working with Vicky on it if she would,
Okay.
if
Okay.
she's willing. Otherwise, I can draft a letter myself.
Absolutely, I will.
Thank you,
Okay.
Vicky.
We'll take a voice vote on that. All those in favor of that resolution?
Aye.
It's not a resolution. We're not spending money.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'll
it-
change it to a motion.
Yeah, it should just be a motion. Then my suggestion is you write it, you and Vicky write it, and I think after you write it, it should be given to each and every council member
Have a
to
good one.
sign.
Yep,
I mean,
I
that's for the
agree.
official, that's not so much to review it, but to sign it so that, is that okay with everybody?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else? Anybody else have, Dustin, you have anything else?
I'm good.
I know that different people in the community, we've had like a 50-50 on with the pool closing and not close and having it open and those different things. I read over the CDC guidelines for the pool opening. I really don't know how we could maintain these little kids from being 6 feet apart in a pool. I think we
Well,
still
we voted on that.
I know. And
Yeah.
I've been getting text messages about us to reconsider it opening, but I think we still need to have it closed until we get further guidelines.
I think what I went by on that, I didn't have an opinion one way or the other, but I thought that Dr. Al wrote a letter and he's done more research on this. I understand why they want the pool open. I really do. I would, especially if I had young kids, but there's no way that the sand, keeping that clean. I mean, you're talking about businesses cleaning up after what they do. You couldn't possibly do it with a pool full of kids. There's just no way.
Mayor,
Mike,
for the next council meeting, the pool director has drafted a letter for us, and it explains everything,
okay.
why we shouldn't open it.
So I'd have a question, Mayor.
Go ahead, Paul.
So what we passed last meeting was not at all through the summer, but is the pool, are we gonna leave it as is? I mean, does it need to be filled? I was under the impression that.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, the pool will have to be cleaned and filled with water and other things to be done with it. Otherwise, we won't have a pool for the next year, but we do have to keep it cleaned as we normally do and get some clean water into it and put some chemical in it. And then we can maintain it as we normally would to take it down in the fall.
Okay,
And
and then,
really, to get the pool up and running, it takes about 1 month by the time you would clean the pool and circulate the water and get the chemical imbalance. And then the countryside health has to come and inspect everything, in which they aren't doing now. So this would not work at the time. We have letters from Dr. Al plus Emily too, that said it would be almost impossible with kids, not in the water, but kids getting out of the water and in the just around the area with the chairs and the furniture and everything. We could not keep it clean. We could not have that responsibility on these young high school and college age kids to keep this safe for our young swimmers.
okay, and just so for our patrons that see that there's water in there and everything, that's the reason. It's for the liner, it's for the pool, it just can't sit empty through the summer months.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Shar.
Anything else anybody has? Resolution paying the bills.
I'll offer the resolution.
Paul offered.
I'll second Ashley.
Ashley a second. We'll roll call again. Mike,
Yes.
Ashley,
Abstain.
Kim,
Yes.
Dustin,
Abstain.
myself, I'll vote yes. Did
Paul,
Paul?
yes.
Okay. Resolution carries. Anybody got any?
Okay, we all got kicked off. Who's all still here? My internet went down.
I'm still on here, but I thought I shut it down, but I can still hear you.
All right, I see we still have 4 attendees. Yeah, my internet just went out.
Oh,
Did he close it right after that? I heard him say.
yeah. I don't know. My internet's been acting up all day.
The meetings I've been to, they've said that if you haven't gotten kicked out of Zoom during a meeting, you're doing good. And this is the first time I've ever been kicked out of a Zoom meeting because my internet went down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, it looks like the mayor's back on. There's only.
It's not showing up on my computer, but oh, there we go. Maybe I just didn't shut down the right thing. Okay, now I'm leaving the meeting.
Well, it looks to be adjourned.